Welcome back to another episode of Inside Access Controlled, sponsored by SIA. Very excited today to have Cameron Javdani join me. He's with SoundSecure. Cameron, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having me, Lee. Good to be with you.
Absolutely. So why don't you do a quick intro of who you are, your background, the company, and what area of the industry you focus on?
Certainly, happy to. I've been in the security industry for coming up on a decade now, and the entirety of that 10 years has been spent in the audio space. So from the get-go, when I joined the industry in 2011, we focused on how do we add sound to security systems. And if you think about it, any kind of video recording that you might come across, be it on your cell phone, be it on YouTube, be it in a movie theater, will always have sound with it, except for in security systems. So for that decade that I've been in the industry, we've been showing folks how to add sound, how they can hear what cameras see, and how to take full advantage of the different technologies that are out there. Last summer, I founded SoundSecure along with a few partners to make an audio offering available to the mainstream of the security industry. A lot of folks know about offerings at the high end of the market, or you can go into any electronic shop and find some little cheapo microphones that are garbled and distorted and don't do a very good job, but there's nothing really that suits the 2 to 5 megapixel camera sector or the HD analog sector of the market. So what we wanted to do was make a cost-effective audio offering to that sector of the marketplace. And so far it's been fairly well received. You know, getting a business started 6 months before COVID hits is perhaps not the best in terms of business planning, but in terms of the value that the product brings, we're finding a lot of folks are quite happy with it.
Yeah, it's hard to predict the pandemic.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm with you. So we started in January, so right along the same journey.
Yeah.
I guess so. Talk to me a little bit about, because usually when you in security, the topics come up around more of the sort of voice recognition and some of the like Alexa and Amazon. So talk to me a little bit about the use case on yours that's a bit different. So is it in response to, or is it like trigger stuff to happen? Is there analytics behind it? Like what is the makeup of sound security?
All of the above are possible. Where we really focus on is just a basic complementary technology to go along with video security. An area that we're very focused on is point of sale technologies, or point of sale security rather. So if you imagine you walk into a convenience store or a quick service restaurant or any kind of retail operation, and you have a microphone to go along with the camera covering the point of sale, covering the cash register. Because if there's a security event, more likely than not, it's going to happen at that location. How many times have you seen a grainy video footage of a gas station robbery and you can't hear a thing about what's going on? So adding the audio to it, we find gives people more evidence, more information about what happened and more context. At the higher end of the market, we're also seeing interest in analytics like gunshot detection. It's in, gun violence is in the news every day. And folks are very concerned about what they can do to protect themselves, or rather get an immediate notification if a system hears a sound like a gunshot. Other technologies are out there like aggression detection. So for all the, the protests and demonstrations that we've seen on the news for the last 5-6 months, if someone talks in an agitated, elevated voice, you can hear the difference between normal speech and the voice patterns that come with agitated or aggressive speech. So the opportunities are quite wide ranging. For us at SoundSecure, we're very focused though on just the basic addition of hearing what your camera sees. And we found a lot of traction in point of sale locations. Another very common application for audio is in police station interview rooms. It won't do you any good to have a suspect make a confession, but they can't hear what was being said. A written confession is one thing. An audible confession of a guy saying, yeah, I did it, is a slam dunk case, right? But a camera just seeing the officer and the suspect talking just doesn't give you any information. So our customers are finding they get much better information by adding that sound capability.
Now, are the components that are needed to do that, is it an added speaker and mic, or is it part of the cameras that are already there, so it's embedded? What's the topography or architecture look like?
Yeah, what we're seeing is a number of cameras will have built-in audio equipment, built-in microphones, sometimes even a built-in speaker. What we find in practice, though, is that the application or placement of the technology is very different between audio and video. If you imagine in a conference room, for example, where you would have a camera placed, it's usually in the corner of the room with a wide field of view. You can see the door, you can see everyone around the conference table. But when sound hits a corner, it's going to echo, it's going to reverberate, it's going to distort a little bit. So having a mic that's external to the camera, that's placed more closely to the sound that you want to hear, will give you better sound pickup. So we also find that camera companies with a mic on board, the circuit board, will be more prone to getting electronic interference from that circuit board processing when it hits the microphone. So for a couple of reasons, we always like to recommend an external microphone. And in fact, we have a quick tutorial video, both on our website, sound-secure.com, and on our YouTube channel, that shows the considerations between when to use an external mic and when it's okay to use the mic that's built into the camera, because there are applications where both might be appropriate.
So with that, so let's say I use either of those. I'm guessing that it's a sort of a monthly recurring service that the sound is pointed to, if you would, for processing and storage, or how does it work?
Well, some of the analytic offerings out there will have a recurring revenue model. For us at SoundSecure, we sell hardware, and it's a basic one-time hardware purchase. When you start integrating with the cameras, they all have audio, well, not all, maybe 90% of them have audio inputs. And so you just connect in with the same camera stream that's going onto your network as is. Very seldomly will you see additional charges from VMS platforms for an additional audio stream to go along with the video stream. However, if you have an IP audio product, you'll often see another port being used, and because another port is being used, and there's another license fee to go along with it. That varies by platform, but we do see that sometimes. But for us, we sell a device, and when that device is hooked up to a camera, you own the device. There's no additional charges. There's no, there's no recurring fees to use it.
I got you. And are you seeing, so I'm guessing you go through a channel, a dealer network? Okay.
Correct. Dealer and distribution network, correct.
I got you. And are you seeing this as a managed service sometimes, or are they doing it primarily as a one-time? Like, what is the model typically if I'm a dealer?
You know, one of the more common uses that we're seeing recently is for central station monitoring and alarm verification. So if you have an alarm that goes off, be it a boundary analytic or an intrusion alarm or any kind of alarm that gets monitored by a central station, if the video doesn't show anything going on, but through the audio feed, you can hear breaking glass or gunfire or someone yelling for help, now you've just verified that alarm. And alarm verification is a huge priority for our industry. And using a simple audio device, you can drastically improve your alarm verification rates. So for dealers who offer a monitoring service, they're seeing this as a way to show their customer that, hey, here's a quick and easy addition to your existing system that will help improve the alarm verification rate, so we don't bother you with nuisance alarms. So when you get a call that the alarm's gone off, or when we need to dispatch first responders, we know something's going on, we verified the alarm.
I see that. So, of course, these conversations typically go back to the privacy side. So instead of, I won't focus necessarily on the dystopian boogeymen that appear whenever there's voice around, but
Sure.
just I'm curious actually from a best practices standpoint. So I can see how this could be a great solution, especially like in multifamily as well, where you may want to have some spaces covered like in an elevator and in hallways. So for distress or call them like dark corners of places, if you would, to be able to respond. What are the sort of best practices that you all see when it comes to data privacy, voice privacy? Like, do you put signage up that says you are being recorded, or like what do you see?
Yeah, we always recommend that through one form or another, that operators of this security system with audio give notification to people that audio is being recorded. You see it again on convenience store windows all the time. You'll walk in and see the sign that says 24/7 audio video recording or something similar. We make such signs available to customers at no charge. Put them up on your windows. Give that notification that audio is being recorded, because we want to avoid that dystopian technologies scene that you referred to. When we've been asked before to do some kind of covert installation, we refuse to do it because it's not what we want to do. It doesn't fit our mission. And frankly, it gives me the creeps too. So if folks are looking for a technology to spy on their neighbor, that's not us, right? And that shouldn't be anyone, frankly, unless maybe you're law enforcement with an appropriate warrant to do so. But we always recommend remove that expectation of privacy, tell people you're being listened to. And under the state-by-state laws that we've listed on our website, it's the same as when you call a 1-800 customer service number, and the first thing you hear is this call is being recorded for training or for quality. We do that through signage. We can do that through memos. We can do that through a number of different mechanisms, but we always recommend that it's done one way or another. Give people that notification that audio recording and video recording as well is taking place.
Yeah, no, I think the transparency and honesty is typically the best policy when it comes that way. So let's talk just a little bit imagination, I guess. You know, if we were to take a look at 5 years from now, 10 years, 20, we can pretend the number. But I mean, I could see very much a day where a key critical part to sort of building operating systems and around the ability for like frictionless and seamless and for spaces to really know who I am and the rest, voice is going to be a heavily utilized part, especially too in response and, you know, knowing if I'm in this room or that room and this door versus that door. Like I can see the day that we're getting there. I do know it's not as easy as people would probably like it to be. And you know that better than I do, but my very limited experience with it tells me that. But if like, how do you see the future of this as it integrates into other technologies and, you know, these things become sort of just feature sets of a much larger value proposition?
Yeah, you know, as technology continues to advance and as integration with video continues to advance, what we see is a migration from security being a reactive system for evidence purposes, for informational purposes about what just happened. You can move it towards a proactive system to give you early alerts, early information about what might be happening soon. So for example, I mentioned aggression detection with aggressive voices. Well, if you and I are yelling at each other in aggressive voices, it's fairly likely we might start throwing punches, right? We might start having an altercation. And if we can nip that in the bud by detecting agitated voices ahead of time, we've just prevented an assault. So the preventive element of audio goes a great deal. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. The preventive element of audio can be an effective way to stop events before they happen. And when you integrate that with video systems or access control systems where you have an analytic that goes off, let's say, or some kind of alarm that goes off, and now you have talk down capability with speakers, and you can say, you in the black shirt, you're in a restricted area, please leave the premises. And when someone hears the voice of God shouting down at them, that's a whole lot different than seeing, oh, there's a camera up in the corner, but I bet no one's watching it, right? Yeah, so we have just a great preventative tool with audio capabilities. And every system, I shouldn't say every system, but 90% of the systems out there with IP cameras have two-way audio functionality. So the capability is already there. It's usually just a matter of connecting the devices to the cameras that are already installed.
Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody's looking for more information to learn more about your product and get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
You can send us an email at hello@sound-secure.com or just visit our website at sound-secure.com, and you can follow the contact us links on the site. And one of the things I'm very proud of on our website is an audio resource library that we built that answers so many of the frequently asked questions about how to use audio the right way, how to integrate it with various brands of cameras. And we have a great resource there as well that's a state-by-state recording statute reference guide. So you don't need to take my word for it about can you record in California or Arizona or Nevada or any other state. Go on our website, find the statute, you can look it up yourself or share that with your attorney as well. We try and make using audio along with video as easy as possible. So definitely stop by our website and look at that resource library because there's so much great information on it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Cameron. I mean, this is the part of what I do that I love is to find interesting people with interesting products that are, you know, beyond most of the press releases that we see out in the marketplace now. So I appreciate you taking the time. I look forward to seeing more about what you're doing and I look forward to catching up again later.
My pleasure, Lee. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Thank you.